Exclusive new video tonight after a 13-year-old boy was shot and killed in Hillyard this weekend. Tonight, his school community is reacting.
We'll stand up for your rights, we'll protect your freedoms. That's central to who we are, and we'll continue doing it.
Plus, Governor Bob Ferguson creates a rapid response team to help immigrant children whose families may be detained or deported in Washington.
Sunny and stagnant the next couple of days, but we have a big change in the weather pattern arriving later this week.
Good evening and thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Whitney Ward. Mark is off tonight. We begin now as we know the identity of the teenager who was shot and killed at a Hillyard home over the weekend. The Spokane County Medical Examiner confirmed this morning 13-year-old Gavin Looper died from a gunshot wound to the head. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley is joining us now live near where that fatal shooting happened and shares exclusive new video from that night.
Neighbors in this area are still on edge following the shooting that happened over the weekend that killed Gavin Looper. Out of concern for their safety, they did not want to go on camera, but one neighbor shared with me their security video that captured the moment of the shooting. We do not know who that person is seen running in the video, and Spokane police have not identified any suspects at this point. Police have also not confirmed if this was a drive-by shooting. SPD says police responded to reports of a shooting on Hillyard Avenue early Saturday morning. They found 13-year-old Gavin Looper with multiple gunshot wounds. He died at the hospital, and the medical examiner says the manner of death is homicide. On the night of his death, Gavin's family held a candlelight vigil at Hart Park to honor his memory. Shaylin Crooks Parkhill shared this video with us of the gathering. Gavin's mother, Renee Rogers, shared this statement with KREM 2. I would just want the community to know how truly amazing I feel to be met with such love and kindness and passion. No one wants this tragedy, but it's bittersweet to see the community really show up for us, to see how many lives my sweet boy reached. She goes on to say, I just want everyone to remember my silly, kind boy for who he was, a beautiful soul and a great kid, not for this tragedy. I also want people to know he has loving, present parents and he's a great kid. Renee started a GoFundMe to cover Gavin's funeral costs, and they've nearly reached their goal. We also learned Gavin was a Peppersack Middle School student. We received a copy of an email the school principal sent out to the Peppersack community. They told parents that additional resources and counseling would be available on campus. The principal also encouraged parents to keep an eye and observe their student for any indication that they may need additional support. Reporting in Hillyard, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, get ready for more cold temperatures and very clear skies. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo says that is what we are in for at least a few more days. He's joining us now with a first look at our week's forecast.
Yeah, over the course of the next couple of days, we have no change or no foreseeable change until later this week. So what that means for us is more of the same. More cold mornings, more mild afternoons, more sunshine, and more pollutants in the low level of the atmosphere. We've already dropped to 30 degrees. Temperatures are going to drop quick once again tonight. But with an air stagnation advisory in place, expect air quality to kind of hover around those levels where you just kind of go, oh, something's happening. Basically, we're back under that ridge, the ridge of high pressure that has often brought us that seemingly endless fog, that incessant fog that we never are able to get rid of. The reason we don't have it now is because we are so much drier in our atmosphere. So instead, we have sunshine and air stagnation. Anything that burns is just going to leave something in the low atmosphere. Air quality is going to hover around moderate, so you might notice it. Someone said, hey, will my allergies be affected? Likely asthma as well. It's just that pattern. Temperatures do climb the next couple of days. We're back in the mid and upper 30s with plenty of sunshine, but those nights are pretty cold until later this week. Looks like our next chance of decent moisture arrives on Friday.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Continuing coverage tonight on new rules that could be on the way for Washington's student athletes, specifically those who are transgender. Districts all across the state are weighing in on proposals that could change how those athletes compete. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy is breaking down some new developments for us tonight. Shannon?
And Whitney, nothing has changed yet. That part of the process comes this spring, but the WIAA's first serious discussion of possibly banning trans girls from girls' sports almost ended before it started. Washington school districts are kicking around options on possible rule changes for middle and high school athletics. Monday, the WIAA held lengthy discussions on 2 proposed amendments. One would limit girls' sports to only athletes assigned female at birth. More than a dozen school districts signed on to the idea, including Colville.
We just feel right now the current rule that WIA has, which follows the state law, is broken.
Superintendent Kevin Knight says it's a safety issue for female and trans athletes.
Trans athletes need an opportunity to compete. Right now, we're not sure that the rule is fair for everybody.
The Second Amendment, which got about half the district's support as the first, would create 3 separate divisions, including one just for transgender competitors. Sponsor Superintendent David Vanderyacht says it all stems from last year's track championships.
My heart was broken watching a transgender female athlete win a state championship among her peers and then stand on a podium in which her peers did not accept her.
Almost immediately Monday, concerns became clear.
There was discussion on what the open division would mean and how it would be difficult for teams to qualify and enough teams to generate a state tournament.
The biggest issue causing some superintendents and athletic directors to suggest putting off the amendments for a year was legal.
It doesn't make sense to vote on something that could not be implemented if law does not allow it to be implemented.
WIAA's board says even if the amendments, if adopted, aren't legal now, state and federal laws could change. In the end, the suggestion to table the talks failed in a vote. So for now, the discussion continues.
And hash out what works for trans athletes, what works for our female athletes, and what they can do, what safe boundaries they have for everybody.
The WIAA will vote on adopting these amendments in early April. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Shannon, thank you. School districts across eastern Washington now coming up with plans to protect students with an undocumented status. When KREM 2 News at 5 continues, we'll talk with one local advocacy group about their suggestions to school districts. Plus, Holocaust Remembrance Day all around the world. It's been 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. We have a lot more news still ahead.